this time.
Nice. Hey, Theo. August 26th, almost 9 o'clock. Draft starts 2 minutes, but not for us because we're at the 11th pick. Theo, what's going on? How are you? Nice to see you.
The two of us are living between 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
You had your main event, your first main event. You get 12 spot. I have gotten the 10 spot with you, the 11 spot. I think this is our third 11th, or 2 11th and a 12. It's really ugly. And we have the opposite extreme. We either get the first pick, or we get the very tail end of the draft. I picked last night. I was 11th in an NFFC draft with Nelson Sousa on a team we split, and that was great because we had the third round reversal. So we picked 11. We got pick number 14, and then we had pick number 25. But here, we're trying to kind of hoping for people to screw up a little bit, so we can extract that, the value in that third 3-4 turn-ish area. So I don't know. We talked a little bit tonight about players we're overweight on, players we have a lot of exposure to, trying to get that unique build. So I don't know which way you're thinking, but we have our usual suspects, the guys we like.
I know. I hate that we have usual suspects. That's the problem. Having said that, Theo, you're the one who's overweight, and I mean that in a nice way about the guy the point play that we're talking about. I think it's going to be a debate once we get on the clock about whether you want to keep gobbling them up or not. But maybe we get there when we get there.
I mean, we'll be honest in case anybody wants to jump and take them ahead of us, but.
Well, that'd be good. That take away some of the temptation. I like that.
It's Antonio Gibson, who a lot of people are really into right now, and we've drafted him together a few times, but I'm at nearly 40% exposure at this point. So, all right, let me pull open our board.
Yeah, I think I'm there. Now I'm sharing the board for the crew. Hey, Theo, I think we've got a couple other good topics for tonight. I want to talk to you about my dinner experience coming up here on Friday. So maybe we resolve that during some of the dead times of this draft since we're sitting at another corner. Maybe we've got some men's national team too. But we can make sure that our picks are working for us first before we kind of start diving in different paths.
I'd love to hear about your dinner.
It's almost complaint season. That's what I'm saying. We gotta. First of all, I'm gonna. First of all, focal banger. Got a focal banger from friend Justin from the Alchemist. So I'm excited about that. I've got a couple of head toppers in the fridge too.
You have the high end Vermont beer down in Florida, so it's very
That's
impressive.
right.
It's a humble brag. This is the definition of a humble brag. A humble brag.
Yeah.
So we see a chalk top four. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Travis Kelce, Alvin Kamara. Occasionally, we've been seeing Kamara creep up to the 2-3. This is pretty much the chalk at this point. Do you see anybody jumping into the top four, or are we going to see it, barring an injury, or we're going to see this as the top four in, our early September drafts?
I think it's a guarantee of the top three, especially when I'm going into main event season. But I think that 4 spot, I think it's going to get all over the place. Once we're live in Vegas, I think that's going to go to Adams. I think it's going to go to Hill, Diggs. I think that people are going to think about their exposures in these football guys. I think they're going to think about whether they've done any of the lives or the slows for the main events. And I just don't think there's going to be a guarantee for Kamara there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Devontae Adams, we're seeing creep up a lot. NFFC, it's a 3 wide start. I'm starting to see him go 5th. Here in the FFPC, he's usually in the drafts I've been in lately. He's the first wide receiver off the board. Okay, so Eckler goes.
Up in 2.
You're up next.
Up in 1. I added a couple of those here. Yeah.
Now you are on the clock.
All right, what way are you thinking here?
What about a tight end start to at least take that off the board to begin with? What about a Darren Waller? So we already have one Darren Waller team. I know we're on the clock, but I'm also willing to go the thing that you suggested with Jonathan Taylor.
So I don't mind the Taylor. I think if we might get Taylor at the 202 as well.
I agree.
I wouldn't mind having a Diggs. I wouldn't mind having a Waller here. We have 30 seconds to go. We have a Waller team. It seems like his price is a little beat up because he's been a little banged up. And he's had maybe some off the field stuff.
Maybe we go. Go ahead.
Seconds left.
No, I'm happy to go Waller again and build it. Unless you want to.
No, let's go Diggs. Let's go Diggs.
Let's go Diggs. Okay, I'm with you.
I love that. I love that, Theo.
Done.
Because I think what's going to happen is we're going to get one of Hill, Waller, or Taylor on the way back.
So our idea with Taylor is Taylor's been kind of beat up in the FFPCs where he's starting to go into the. Okay, so we talked about this start. Maybe before we take him, Jonathan Taylor has the dreaded Week 14 bye. Plus, you have the Carson Wentz injury. Plus, you have the fear of Nyheim Hines. So people have kind of soured on Taylor, but we don't have any exposure to him together on a team we're splitting.
That's right.
We believe in the talent, and we're
definitely
willing to say that people are wrong. So I don't mind. It's annoying with the Week 14 bye, but I think it gives us a unique build to have Diggs and Taylor. And I would like to have some exposure to him as does Andrew. So, Andrew, I'll throw it out there to you right now. I want to take him here unless you want to go Gibson.
No. We'll go Taylor here. This is good.
Let's go Taylor.
I like it. That's a Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Taylor start. Yeah, I'm happy about that, Theo. I mean, I think that if we're annoyed about what's happening in the league playoffs, that's the championship round, right? Or is that the first of the 3 weeks? That can't be the 3 week sprint.
No,
15, 16, 17 is the 3 week sprint.
Yeah,
so
it's the league playoffs. So
let's be happy if we have that problem. Let's be happy if we're sitting there in the league playoffs and we're missing Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, so I'm with you. And I do think I'll be interested. Maybe we could pull up Mojo, a little later in the draft and kind of see how unique the Diggs Taylor start is. I'd be willing to bet it's a little more unique than some starts. We've been getting these 10, 11, 12 so often. It's really hard to build a unique start unless you want to really reach, or if somebody really, really falls. Like I was in a slow draft where Zeke fell to the 12. That kind of thing could make it unique. But Taylor Diggs, it gives us a wide receiver who's arguably wide receiver 1 overall. I know you love Diggs. I love Diggs. And Taylor, if we were drafting in May, Taylor would be going, like 6 or 7, and he's just kind of been beat up. Sometimes you see Taylor go at the end of the second round now. It's a guy who was one of the best prospects we've ever seen, and he closed the year out on such a tear. But FFPC drafters, I think, are very worried about the schedule with the Week 14 bye, plus some of the other factors with the Colts themselves. So I don't know. I think we're getting similar volume potentially as a Derrick Henry. I think he's going to get run into the ground. And I think he's a little more dynamic and has shown a little more as a pass catcher than Nick Chubb. So I don't know. I'm willing to take a chance that Taylor, the market is a little low on him and he ends up paying off.
No, I like that, Theo. I agree with that. I'll tell you where my head's at. I went to Mojo as you were talking, but I was listening and agreeing. I went to the main event and Stack Finder. So in the main event, since I already have that information, I'll go ahead and share it. There's only one Diggs Taylor team in the main event. But let me go to the football guys. Obviously, I think there's plenty more opportunities to get the Diggs Taylor start there. So we'll see. 1 second. Why is there's only one? I mean, I think you nailed it. It's like a little bit less than we would have thought in the main event. Yeah, here in the football guys, there's eyeballing it 20 teams.
Okay, so
20. Man, I'm surprised in the main. I'm surprised there's such a disparity, but maybe that's just on account of maybe people were doing it this at the 9-10 earlier this summer, but doing Taylor first and Diggs second before Diggs started pulling himself up into the first round.
Yeah, it's not as unique as I thought. That's a little disappointing, but I still like it. It still gives us the balance we need. It's funny. It's when you're at the 11 hole, it's difficult. I feel like for my main events, I have the number 2 pick twice. And then I have the 7th pick and I have the 4th pick. So I'm all picking a little higher for my 4 main events. And I'm pretty glad that I don't have the 11-12. I thought you did a really nice job, and I highly encourage anybody listening to this to go back and listen to Andrew's podcast he had with the ship chasing guys reviewing his main event. But it kind of forces you to go to an extreme to build value. When you're at the back end of the draft, you kind of end up being either running back heavy or wide receiver heavy. It's just you've got to find a way to kind of differentiate yourself from like these teams drafting like a McCaffrey and a Cook and then following it up with terrific value right at the the end of the second, early third. It's definitely an advantage, I feel like, in FFPC drafts right now to get those top few picks. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I also loved the pod that we did with the ship chasing guys, and that was an 11 team talking and a 12 team talking. I think the main difference, and we were discussing this a little bit today, was that draft was a slow draft, but started before the Cam Akers and Michael Thomas injuries. And that back half, or the end of that 3rd round and 4th round is just so dry now. Like for some reason, those 2 players, I feel like has made like all the difference in terms of like people like, pulling up ADPs, being a little bit sharper in the middle of the 3rd round, where like, there's not much you can do sitting there at the end, watching it dry up in front of you. So you have to be like really sharp and maybe be a little bit more creative that you were making if you're sitting there in one of the 10, 11, 12 spots to continue to get the appropriate value, but also build a monster and a unique team.
Yeah, I mean, you really sit there hoping that like a J.K. Dobbins or a Robert Woods falls to you, a T.J. Hawkinson, and it's kind of like, are those guys? I really like all of those guys, but I kind of prefer those guys to be my 4th best player, not my third best player. It's kind of like maybe Hawkinson has some unrealized potential, as does Dobbins, but I don't know. It's so much better when you get that. Like look at the beginning of the 3rd. Now you get McLaurin and Lamb and Mixon. It's a different quality of player than what we're going to be choosing from.
Well, that's the thing, Theo. Is like it used to be 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You only had to wait, on like maybe like 3 teams who pulled up a Miles Sanders, a J.K. Dobbins, and a Hawkinson. And the second they did that, you would have Allen Robinson's, or you would have a CD maybe fall to you, or like maybe something, right? And now it's no, like those guys can go and you can still be dried up and you can miss the Allen Robinsons and you can miss those. Like, not saying like we absolutely have to get like the Dobbins or like the Hawkinsons, but like people that you were hoping would skip guys so they would fall to you now are still coming up, and then just you're not getting a whole lot in the back end.
No, I agree, and I think that's a great way of looking at it. It was like a perfect storm for like the top 30 to have Akers and Thomas.
I know down. It was just 2 of them. It made all the difference in that tier break.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like Akers, it's like when you see like the Diggs starting to go in the 1st round all the time. And, it's because Akers was going at that, 1-2 turn. And now people are just starting to move up and up. And Thomas, it's just like people got so wide receiver thirsty. You see a lot of wide receivers going off the board because, it's like one bites the dust. And now you're seeing a lot of those wide receivers in like the 8, 9, 10 round range. Start to get that area of the draft starting to get beat up. So it's very interesting to see the way it goes. Let's hope there's not too many more injuries. In our queue right now, I have 3 guys I'd love to get. One just went. So, all right. So let's start thinking of an alternate. I'm going to throw one more in that I know you're not huge on, but would gives us a little balance. Okay, so we're going to have a decision to make here. I have 3 guys in our queue, and we have Snoop Dogg. I don't know if that's the real Snoop Dogg, but he's on the clock.
We had 2. We have 2 guys in our queue.
Okay, so this is to me it's a no-brainer. I think that I would love to take both of them. Like
I think we start with one. I think we start with the.
I think we go with. I would. You're going to say Pitts because I think it's more likely that Captain Bodgett takes Pitts here than Hawk.
Yep.
So I think that let's take Pitts. and let's hope
Yep,
for a
I
unique
agree.
two tight ends. So go ahead,
God,
lock
I
in
just
Pitts.
love when we take Kyle Pitts.
It's like Christmas morning when you take Kyle
It really
Pitts.
is.
Yeah, it makes you feel really warm inside. So we see. I would love to get Hawkinson here, and if we don't get Hawkinson, I'm going to throw out wide receiver or Darrell Henderson. I would like a little exposure to. You have a couple guys I like wide receiver wise. I'll throw one more in there, two more actually, just to talk it out. But he's thinking here. I don't know if he wants to go Hawkinson. I'd love to have a Hawkinson Pitts combo. Okay, so he takes Chris Carson, not in our.
I love that he took Chris Carson. That's good.
It's very vanilla. You never feel great. It's not Christmas morning with Chris Carson.
Oh, good. So he went Chris. So he's got a Tyreek Hill, Darren Waller, Chris Carson, Patrick Mahomes team. That's a fun little Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes stack. Theo, I think that this is easy.
I think we go Hawk and we go with a two tight end build, but we do a two tight end build with Diggs and Taylor, which is pretty exciting.
Yep. No, I like that. That's good.
Okay.
Lock
it up.
Yep.
And we sacrifice a number of wide receivers that we both like, and I think we both would have been comfortable taking. But I think that there's something to a Pitts Hawk start. It's a very kind of upside start. And I don't think it's as common as people think. I think that people like to pair two tight ends in these football guys drafts, but I don't know if the Pitts Hawkinson one has been done quite as often as some of the other ones. We can check that on Mojo as well.
I see. I'm firing it up, Theo. We're gonna keep going, and eventually, once we lock in all 20 of our picks, we'll definitely have a unique team. No, so we've with our first 4 picks, we've already locked in a unique team. There are, I'm eyeballing here, 15 or so teams that have 3 of those 4. If I take away Pitts, there's only 6. There's only 6 Diggs, Taylor, Hawkinson teams. So the others must be Diggs, Taylor, and like Pitts. So we are the only one with this 4-player start in the football guys.
Yeah, I like it. I will say when you do these two tight end builds, it leaves you kind of scrambling. Andrew and I oftentimes punt RB2. And once in a while we punt RB1. And we go very wide receiver heavy, which we're not afraid to do and enjoy those builds. But I think when you take 2 tight ends, they really need to hit. Even if it's a Kittle Waller build or a really exciting build like that, you really need them to cash because you're playing catch up at 2 positions, not just 1. When you take a tight end early, you're sacrificing a high end running back or a high end wide receiver. But you take 2, it's like really playing catch up. And I think it makes it very.
Can I further that, Theo?
Yeah,
not to interrupt you, but let me further. I think you end up having to make a decision about whether you're playing catch up at 3 positions, because then you may have to miss out on that quarterback tier, like maybe like the Kyler or Dak or Herbert, maybe because we feel like we're going to have to go after the running back wide receiver. So as the draft progresses, let's think about that and whether we want to still have access to that quarterback tier, which again, not opposed to, is just the thought in terms of how we want to build it and what that means for the other positions.
So I'll say I doubt he's still on the board when we draft, but I would say like even if Josh Allen falls to like the end of the 5th, he's pretty. I think he's a very good value. But with our start here, I would still be apprehensive to do it because if we were to take a quarterback at the 5'11", like you said, we'd be passing up. We'd be passing up running back and wide. So.
I wouldn't worry about the wide receivers that are going to be there. I think that everyone's going to go like the full wide receiver yellow here, especially this round and next. I think that what we're going to be left with is I think that we're going to maybe have. I mean, this is a guess. I think we're going to have an opportunity at a quarterback, and I think we're going to have an opportunity about potentially a young running back that we like. But I just have a feeling that the wide receivers are going to dry up here, which is
really
fine.
Have been.
I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Just predicting. Not many of my best friends are going to be available at the 5'11".
So it's funny. Like for a while you were seeing Juju in the 7th, Claypool in the 7th, Odell in the 6th. Now all those guys are kind of being bumped up. And you're seeing a couple of these other, the guys like T. Higgins are starting to climb up. I've seen T go ahead of Chase. I think that's kind of happened. Where T has kind of jumped Chase, which was it just goes to show you how reactionary everybody is to little blurbs in the preseason. I mean, I love T. I also really like Chase. And they were always
not after today, Theo, because I think didn't we see some camp report today that Jamar Chase caught 3 touchdowns from Burrow? So Chase is going to hop Higgins in this draft, but you're right. They're going to see some back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's still been. I mean, I've seen it in NFFC and in FFPC where it seems like Higgins is kind of creeping up. So it's funny the way things go. No real surprises. Mike Davis in the 4th, I can't get behind. I'm seeing him in the 6th quite often. He's not a guy who I'm going to have much of at all. I'm willing to be wrong on Mike Davis. I know a couple of people who are sharp that are on him, but to me, it's like a 29-year-old waiver wire running back last year. And he's basically, I think he's been pushed up because the backs behind him don't excite anybody. And they brought him in as a free agent, but I mean, I can't do it. I could not take him in the 4th round. That would never be something I would do.
No, I think I only have him. Gosh, I wish I could remember, because this is the 5th one that you and I have done, but I did one earlier.
You got him at great value, though. I think you got him at like the 6th round.
Yeah, 6th or 7th. I thought maybe it was the 6th.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're punting RB2 and you want a guy who's going to get a good start to the season, Davis should see some volume. I mean, I get the rationale. I also get the rationale that he should catch some passes. I think that he was more of a volume pass catcher based on the situation in Carolina, rather than he's so talented that they had to utilize him.
That's right.
I think it was, he basically ran a lot of Christian McCaffrey stuff, and they dumped off to him, when he was open. But I don't know. Atlanta's funny. It's he could really disappoint this year. I think he could be a guy that does not hit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. It certainly would be odd to see a 29-year-old go from being undrafted last year to, paying off as a 4th or 5th round pick. So
yeah, I don't think the noun works here, sleeper, but overhyped is this is a Dan thought in my mind, because I think that when he was in Chicago 2019, people liked his talent and they were like, oh, like, hey, maybe he's the guy to have instead of Tariq Cohen or whatever. Like, I remember like the first Thursday night football game, I think he got he was in the first couple snaps and maybe he got a first, the first couple of carries. Everyone thought it was going to be Mike Davis season then, but that was just a year off. And I think people have liked his talent, but now that he truly is the main guy, I just don't think that we believe he is like the guy. Like, he's a great ancillary piece. But I just don't see him as like the lead dog.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. I agree. So our queue it's an interesting part of the draft right now.
I haven't checked it. Let me look.
Well, you have right now still on the board Julio, Thielen. You have 2 like veteran wide receivers. You have Josh Jacobs, who nobody wants to take these days. Ayuk just went, who we would have stood on our head to draft at. The 5'11". We love Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting pick here. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not loving what's on the board.
No. The wide receivers just dry up so fast. And I mean, Ayuk, when he's pulled up, I think I've been seeing some boards with him in the 4th round. It's just like, I just know that he's never going to come back there. So I'm saying, like, whatever we're going to have left in the wide receiver queue is going to be disgusting.
So I actually don't mind. I have a lot of Odell this year. I think that Odell's appealing at this level of the draft. Before you were getting him in the 6th round, so the 5'11" would be a place I'd consider him. Claypool interests me a little. Judy, we have plenty of, and we were taking him later, but I still don't think he's a bad pick here.
Yeah.
Let's see which way this falls. I mean, at the 5'11", a Josh Jacobs is not the worst thing ever. I know he's been beat to shit, but he's going to see a ton of volume. He was a RB1 last year. You were taking him in the second round last year, and now people are trying to push him down to the sixth round. So I don't think it's horrible here. I just think it's unexciting. Claypool has crept up.
He's the one that I have my eye on, is Claypool. Now, that's assuming these three guys in front of us aren't in the stream listening. But I like the second-year players. You mentioned we got a lot of Judy. Probably have to monitor that Judy exposure. Maybe do we have any Odell Beckham between you and I? I think that I've got a couple.
I have a lot of Odell.
Okay.
But I don't mind taking Odell here. I think Odell would be a nice pick. Let's see. Let me see what Captain Bodick has. Chris Carson. He's probably going to take Jacobs if we don't take him. Let's see what Snoop Dogg. This might be the real Snoop Dogg in the draft. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Well, I was going to say I'm trying to think. Maybe I was going to say he's got some LA connection here. The Robert Woods, Darrell Henderson. So
there you go.
Perhaps. Yeah.
He's all about it. He's going to stack it.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it here. Okay, so he took Lamar. Okay, so right now I would say for me, it's probably Odell, but I could get behind Claypool. I also think there's a chance we can get both of them.
So here's where I'm at, Theo. We've got a couple seconds on the clock. I think that even if we take Jacobs here, we're going to get one of, even if he double taps wide receiver, we're going to get one of Claypool, Judy, and Beckham, and I'm going to feel good about that. And even if he doesn't, maybe we still have an option of one of those or two of those three.
So let's take the faller. I'm with you. Let's Jacobs as our RB2, and then we can kind of shut it off for a little bit with running back as well, which we like to do. So
15 seconds left.
So Jacobs here, and then we'll see if there is a wide receiver double tap. But if he does, then that makes our decision easier, if that works for you.
Yeah, I'm into it. I like Claypool a lot. We have a lot of Judy, and I love Odell. I've been taking Odell every chance I can in the sixth round. I just think that the signs are pointing to an Odell bounce back. I'm buying into it. I mean, he could break my heart again, but I'm plenty exposed to Odell. All right, let's see which way he goes here.
Yeah, still not doing a lot of thinking here at the 12 spot. Of course, so are we. So maybe it's just a managed team. Okay, we got one pick in.
Okay, so he took Claypool.
Here's Claypool. Yep.
I think he's going to go Kareem Hunt here, if I had to bet. He took Carson. Seems like he's going to take. Okay, so he took Judy.
Yeah, so there we go.
This is easy. We will take Odell Beckham here, and let's lock him up as a wide receiver too.
Yep. Okay,
so I like our start. I think that it's unique, and we end up we liked our Diggs Taylor start. We love the Pitts Hawkinson. And then we get our first Jacobs exposure where here at the almost in the sixth round, I think we did well to get Jacobs. He's going to give us steady running back 2 production. I mean, he might end up being something like running back 21. He might be a little bit of a purgatory player, but it gives us flexibility where we don't feel forced to fill that RB2 spot. And then Odell, I really like.
He's like a mindless start. Jacobs is smashing him in there. That's fine. And, maybe he sucks and we're cursing his name, but at least we can just, pat ourselves on the back and say, well, what are you going to do? We had a Josh Jacobs on the team. Had to throw him in the lineup.
We're going to love those 24 for 86 and one catch weeks. It's going to be exhilarating getting tackled on the 1 yard line a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Logan Thomas is creeping up lately. I think that's it's a reaction.
Is that contract related?
I think it's contract. I think it's the fact that Samuel will miss some time. Thomas looks like a key cog in that offense. And I also think it's the fact that Goddard is now kind of beat up, where Goddard was going in this range Thomas just got drafted in, but now Ertz is around. There's some questions about Goddard. I got Goddard at the 7-10. recently, which I'm still happy to take him there. But I think that Goddard and Fant are a little less, intriguing than they were a couple weeks ago. For nothing with Fant, I think with Fant, it's just people are a little worried about how much volume he's going to get, how many targets, etc. I still like Fant in the late 7th, but Thomas is kind of creeping into that 6th round. So it's kind of funny. You could get Thomas in the 8th round for a little while, 7th round, and now he's going pretty much every 6th round I'm seeing. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, and I have been I know the reason. I've been not snapping him up because I already have a lot of exposure in Dynasty to him. Like he was like one of the midseason ads on almost I'd say 75% of my teams. So I have a lot of Logan Thomas there, and of course I should manage exposures across all tournaments and platforms and whatever. But it just in my head, I'm just all smashing it together, and I'm just thinking, well, I don't need to get Logan Thomas here because if he flames out horribly, I've already got too much going on in Dynasty land. Now, obviously, I could do something about it in Dynasty. I could trade him away, but I like his chances. I'm happy about the contract. Makes me feel like I can actually really feel comfortable at him this season. I think in general. When I think about these mid-round tight ends or these single-digit tight end guys, I'm just trying to pass as often as I can. Now, I know with you, I think that you're a little bit higher on Fant and Goddard than I am, which is okay. I don't mind having some exposure, and this is why co-managing is good. But I think I definitely would be rather mixing them up between Fant, Goddard, and then Logan Thomas here. And then Higbee's my guy, sort of once those guys are cleared out. Of course, he's been moving around as well.
Yeah, Higbee's interesting. I don't really have any Higbee. We had Dwayne Mcfarlane on last week into the GOAT District, and he thinks Higbee's a top 5 tight end this year. Yeah. He thinks he could be like a league winner. And I know a few people are on that train. We've seen him have a fantastic tear to a season where I think he strung off 5 straight really good starts. Yeah. And he was a league winner. So, with Everett out of the way and the fact that, the little less volume to the running backs potentially, Higbee might be a weapon in the red zone. It'll be interesting to see, what happens with him. But he's a guy that I should have some exposure to. And Dwayne kind of opened my eyes. I know the fact that you and Dwayne are both on him makes me kind of – I don't want to have zero Higbee. Let's put it like that. Yeah. I'm willing to be wrong and try to get some exposure. So we see Fant go here. Cortland Sutton's been another faller. This is early for Sutton. We had Debo in our queue. That's a nice aggressive pick. People are very bullish on 49ers right now, kind of as they should be. I think that
as they should be.
And I think the high stakes, the NFFC and the FFPC drafters usually are aggressive, and I think people are seeing signs, like you said, that San Francisco offense is going to be dynamic, and you really want a little bit of exposure to it. We have taken Debo before in the 8th, but I think those days are over.
Yeah, I somebody who I really like, asked for some draft board reviews, and one of the things that's I've just been thinking about more and more, right? And maybe you make the argument you shouldn't be doing it now that there's more clarity, but Theo, is it time to just be going naked Lance? And I don't mean be so excited that you're just taking your pants off every time he throws a touchdown. I'm just, you get what I'm saying. Do we just draft Lance, or does somebody just draft Lance and don't have to feel the need to back him up right away, or don't feel the need to grab some a Stafford and then go after a Lance? I think it's naked Lance time, especially because we still have the waiver wire run in advance of the season if he's truly not starting.
Yeah, so I'm about that. I think that I think the biggest takeaway for me with Lance is Lance used to be that guy that I remember one of the first few football guys that I drafted, not with you but on my own. I had a Brady Lance team, and I had Brady in the 10th and Lance in the 14th, and I loved that. And I kept doing those sort of builds, and then all of a sudden Lance starts creeping up and up, and now I think you're going to start seeing Lance go in the 9th round. And I think that if Lance starts having a few more plays like he did on that 80-yard bomb in preseason, I think you might see 8th round Lance. So you're gonna have to go naked Lance unless you want to push a stack. But like you said, I don't know if he's the kind of guy that you need that correlation or stack because he's got the rushing ability.
Yeah.
And also, we don't know which way he's going to distribute the ball. You'd assume a Kittle or Ayuk one would be the great play, but maybe Debo does pay off. I'm much higher on Ayuk and Kittle. I believe in Debo's talent, but like you said, it's some guessing, and I think that the naked lance might be something to do. It might be something to do tonight, by the way.
Yeah, maybe. I could start taking my pants off and we get some lance.
I will say this is crazy late for me with Juju, and this is stupid for Juju to be going this late. I know I'm higher on Juju than you are, but Juju was wide receiver 20 last year. He's going to catch 90 passes this year. He's going to, his at the very worst, I'm seeing him as with 80 something. So I think this is a little late for him. I would love to get a Juju share at the 7-Eleven. That would be great.
Yeah, but the thing is, Theo, I was hoping not to say his name so that way we could sneak him in because I think Muzio is in the chat. I know he's not in the draft. I think that's Muzio Fantasy Data. When Claypool went at that turn, so astutely pointed out that Claypool was outsnapped in 2 wide receiver sets 3-1 by Juju. But I neglected on posting it because I didn't want to jinx our Juju situation. No bad Juju here. But since you brought it up, I might as well post it there. So
Klondike takes him here at the 8th.
Yeah.
So for us here, I think Antonio Brown we'll have like the oldest like. Okay, we could go
on my screen.
We could go. I wouldn't mind a little Visca.
Now you are on the clock.
Oh, good. I'm so glad Antonio Brown went. Oh, that makes me my heart is singing. May I suggest? I don't mind Visca. And I would take Visca in a heartbeat. Jaguar guy here. Question for you, Devonta Smith. We have one Devonta Smith share back at practice today. Do you like Devonta over Visca here? This is a question. I'm not committed to it. I'm just asking questions.
I don't think I'm either one is like a guy that I have to get. I don't mind either of them.
Yep.
I don't see a running back. Maybe Damian Harris, tight end wise, we don't need a third unless you want to go super weird and have Higbee. I think that if you want Devonta Smith,
let's go Visca.
Let's take Visca. Okay, cool. But I think Devonta and Visca here would be great if Captain Bogdit doesn't do it.
Yeah, maybe he gets nervous while the running back's gone, but who knows? Hey, I added another wide receiver in the room, and I'm not kidding about drafting him.
I'm sure you're not.
Speaking of naked with no pants.
I'm sure you're not on that. Let's see. But hopefully Captain Bogdit. Okay, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think a couple of
you
other
don't like it. You're trying to figure out what argument to use to get me off of the one that I really want.
No, there's no real argument. I really like him. It's extremely aggressive.
I think we'd be setting a new record for sure. Let me see if I can't grab it while we're on the clock. You talk for a little bit. Let me see if I can grab his min.
Okay, so should we discuss
players'
our
min
queue right now?
So we wouldn't be totally out of bounds here.
So that was before the injury. I know he's supposed to come back, but it's still, once you take a little knock, it's a little. I'm okay doing it. I think that we're gonna take Devonta or Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
I'll throw out one other play would be DJ Shark, who I know you've taken before, and we could potentially have a Jaguars stack. Let's skip it. I'm okay with Devonta.
It almost makes me feel like I had to get Lawrence, which I don't mind, but it almost makes me feel like we'd have to. Well, there goes Chark. Okay, all right.
So that takes it away. So I say we take Devonta Smith.
Yep.
The path for him to be, dominating targets is potentially there. It might not happen, but I think that It's a really tough decision here. I think we go Devonta Smith.
Let's go Devonta Smith, even though I'm going to be so annoyed thinking about it later that we passed on Elijah Moore again. I was in that. Well, first of all, I'll be talking to Deo tomorrow, which I need to get sent out to everybody. So that'll be a good one. That was the main event. A little preview because I want to talk about it again tomorrow. But I think I texted you when it was a slow draft. I was just like, "Hey Theo, I'm going to get a little bit weird with it, and I'm going to take Elijah Moore at 8, 9, 8, 10, whatever I was." And I was like, "Nope." I was outdone by somebody grabbing him at 8-4, 8-4, whatever. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe somebody out crazied me." This is before pre-injury. I was going to pull him up. I was going to just drag his ADP further higher. Yeah.
No, I mean we love Elijah Moore. We've taken him a few times. I think he's fine if he's fully healthy. I'd like to see him get back on the field. I think he's fine here. If you're happy to take him in the 9th, then take him in the 8th. But for us to get Devonta Smith,
that's a dangerous game with me. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you.
I mean, it's not that much of a reach. Like my thing is, it's more flat than people think. Like the 7th and the 9th round are more flat than you think. I mean, I think if you went not even at the end of the season, I think if you went 4 games into the season and you had to re-rank the 7th through 9th round, I think it's going to be all over the place. So, it's kind of like go get your guys. I like what we did with the Diggs and Beckham, and then we get the Shenault Smith. So we built a little wide receiver depth here.
In youth, I like the second year and rookie wide receiver. That makes me happy. I feel much better about the youth of the team.
No, I agree with you. So we see a little bit of a purple run here. Higbee, Tanyan, Goddard. This might be the lowest that I've seen Goddard go in a football guys in quite some time for him to go in like the middle of the 8th.
Yeah, let me look. Yeah, well, he's got last 3 days he has 189, but yeah, his ADP is 7.6.
He's just crashing down.
Yeah, I bet to see the trend line is definitely lower. No, I like what we did with Devonta and Laviska. That made me happy. That was good. I'm glad we didn't have the Antonio Brown option. I think I would have fought pretty hard on that one.
So I'm interested to hear you're just anti-Antonio. I think Antonio is pretty appealing. I have some Antonio here. I just think when you're talking about the 7th and 8th round, when he's on the field, he's very much a flex option. And I think that, he's going to be better in year 2 in Tampa. And I think that offense could just be a lot more efficient in year 2. I mean, they had times last year where they struggled, especially early on. I could see Antonio Brown being a very, very useful, flex early on. So I'm interested to hear your anti-Antonio stance. I mean, it literally made you look like you were going to throw up.
No, I know. I was trying to visibly make sure that was seen. No, I like him. I think I got him on that Mike Davis team, which by the way was really should be labeled the Kelsey Pitts team. I think that has Davis and Antonio Brown. I liked Antonio Brown so much more when I got him in the 9th and 10th rounds. I like Antonio Brown, but I just think when I'm thinking about the overall team construction and kind of the different, I guess if we have to call it profiles on the team, I don't want a ton of these aging vets. I want different youth profiles throughout the team. And I think that the Viscas and the second year players, the first year, highly drafted breakouts, like those are the guys that I'm looking for. So I think to have the Odell and Antonio, my biggest fear with that team, and of course I know it's all independent, endpoints here. But I could just see a scenario where that team is just like flaming out and dead, by the time we're at we're just limping to the end of the season.
Yeah, there's plenty of reasons. You can make so many arguments about Brown, especially with the off the field stuff. I just think that he's Brady's guy, and I think that
that's true.
If you're willing to have Antonio Brown stay in your home, the guy's a maniac, and Brady's got him living in his house. So that's his guy. Brown is just kind of following him around places, and there's something to be said for that. And also Brown produced last year. He looked good. The connection looked good. And, he had several wide receiver 2 weeks. So I don't know. I'm not opposed to him. I get it. There's some, like Laviska Shenault, Devonta Smith, Juju. I mean, there's some good options around him, but I don't think he's out of place where he's being drafted. Mooney goes. I would have liked to have got Mooney. I had him in the queue.
Man, our Triflex team, sometimes I just stare at that thing, Theo. First of all, we got Mooney during draft day after Fields was taken. That was such a good pick. We got on the clock, right before the NFL draft started. And it's like, hey, we're not going to go crazy with it. Like, we're not, by that time, all of the who's who of rookies that everyone thought was going to go on day one was already drafted, like in our draft. So it's not like we had let's see who gets where and who gets the draft capital. We weren't going to be able to be on the clock that long. But man, when Fields was drafted, you and I just gobbled him up. And I think that we've gotten him late, like, not 12th, 13th, 14th, you and I, throughout this off season. So I'm just so happy that we've already got all of our exposures to Mooney. I don't mind buying him here in 9 and 10. But I'm much happier where we got, them earlier this offseason.
I mean, it was a great pick, and Fields looks awesome, and Mooney's the explosive deep threat, and Fields certainly has a deep ball, so it could absolutely be a smash for our Triflex team, and that's for anybody unfamiliar, that's a start 3 wide receiver format. So Mooney is especially valuable in that, and Shelly and I put together a pretty monstrous powerhouse of a team. We just need Saquon to come back. If Saquon is healthy, that team, I think we cash it. I think we take down that league this year and pocket a nice chunk of change.
That's right. Yeah, 3-part podcast series on that too. That was fun to do, to recap.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I would love to do another Triflex. They're not billing. I'd love to do another high.
They really weren't. They were hot during the NFL draft season, but maybe that's just the way it goes now that we're thinking about these tourneys on the FFPC. Man, I still remember the Tony Pollard pick locked us out of Elijah Moore in Dynasty. That's okay though. We'll survive. We survived.
Hindsight, and we're happy to have Tony Pollard. If Tony Pollard
worse things have happened to us.
If Tony Pollard is listening to this pod, Shelly is happy to have you on his team. So no worries. But definitely. Yeah, more would have been great there. But what are you going to do? Okay, so this round's kind of no real surprises here. Williams, Mooney, Samuel, Landry, Jonnu Smith, who I've been kind of adding a little bit of. I think that's good value here in the 9th. So our queue is exciting right now, Shelly. I don't want to get you too excited, but there's a certain player still in the queue.
Man, the quarterback small run. Yeah, I've got one guy that I'm not even going to think about. Do I have permission to smash it?
It's an auto pick for
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're. God damn it! God damn it! That's fine.
You get snake by a pick. Okay, so I will throw out. I think
we lost Elijah Moore. If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, we really wanted Elijah Moore. We almost took Elijah Moore over Devonta Smith, and it was tantalizing right there in front of us, and it went away. So I'll throw out Waddle. Gives us another, explosive, potential boom guy that's a rookie. I think he makes a little bit of a sense. I see you have Irv Smith in the queue.
I don't think we need him, but I like him. There's another wide receiver that I like over Irv Smith, but let's see what happens here on the turn. Let's go Waddle. I like Waddle. That's the right kind of explosion that I want on the roster. If you're okay with doing that.
Go for it.
Okay. All right, Waddle. That was easy. Oh, God, after all my God damn it. It's Elijah Moore. Oh, so close. So upsetting.
Okay, so Melgo goes.
That was a real Bill O'Reilly moment.
Well, we tweeted we're going live.
Yeah.
So it's you were fresh on the brain. It would have been great to get more. I mean, Moore at the end of the 9th is such a steal. And so Irv Smith we had in the queue. Irv goes. So here, Ruggs makes a little bit of sense here. Another potential second year guy, explosive wide receiver. I think he might be a little bit beat up asset. If you want to go Michael Pittman. I think he profiles out as a guy that they're going to try to get work in Indianapolis. It would give us 2 Colts with that Week 14 bye, which is a little annoying.
Yeah, but we also got let's cross that bridge when we come to it, because I think we also got Devonta Smith, who's got 14, and Waddle, who's got 14. We've got 14 all over the roster.
I don't mind I don't mind either. If you want to go Pittman, go Pittman.
I like Pittman more personally.
Take Pittman. Take Pittman. Go for it.
You know, Pittman though, just so you are on the same page, is like not like a consolation prize for Elijah Moore.
No, it's not. I mean, I like what we've done though here. I mean, with Pittman, with Waddle, with Smith, with Chenault, with Beckham, and obviously with Diggs and Beckham. There's a chance that every single wide receiver we drafted is the number one wide receiver target on their team. It's not a guarantee. And there's something to be said for having the number one target in the wide receiver room. It's a player you're going to feel, pretty comfortable about starting, knowing that they're the highest, targeted wide receiver on their team. That sometimes doesn't always work out, but usually those guys are appealing. So Waddle, Pittman, I think we've done a pretty good job with our wideouts. And I'll tell you what, I do not hate this. I don't hate this build. I'll tell you that.
No, I like it. Let me second. I'm just glad we didn't take Russell Gage in the 10th round. Which
I don't think we're ever going to have Russell Gage. I don't think me and you, we're not the kind of drafters who go Russell Gage usually.
Except for that one time in Revelations when I took him in the 18th round.
So 18th round is different. What 18th round is, yeah. Like I'll give you props for that one. Like if you get an 18th rounder that you keep for the entire season, is a good thing. But when you take a guy like Russell Gage over a Pittman or a Waddle, I mean, even here he goes right after Pittman, Waddle, Elijah Moore. I mean, it's just a different bet. You're kind of betting on a weekly consistency veteran versus a guy with upside. I mean, here I think if you're taking a wide receiver in this range, you want to swing for upside.
Yep.
I mean,
so
Cole Beasley in the 17th or Russell Gage in the 10th. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley could outproduce him easily.
So Theo, I don't want to give away features that I'm going to do on Twitter, and really it's just like me being an ass. I'm going to do a humbling series, but really it's just me humbling myself. I'm gonna, it's going to be something that effective every time I think I've got this game on lockdown. Here's me drafting X over Elijah Moore this offseason. So I'm going to go through all of my draft boards where I very clearly had Elijah Moore lined up ready to go, or should have, and I just didn't take him, and I probably took some schmuck ahead of him. So I want you to be prepared for my Twitter series of me humbling myself over Elijah Moore draft picks.
It sounds deeply depressing.
It's going to be riveting content. It's like just going to be like me taking Cole Beasley over Elijah Moore, me taking Amon-Ra St. Brown over Elijah Moore. It's going to be just like defeating looking back at some of those drafts and thinking about how much I wanted Elijah Moore, today, every day, and whenever, and just how I just didn't because I was a moron back then. And luckily I've gotten smarter, I think. Maybe.
No, you definitely got smarter.
Yeah.
I think when
I've gotten 2 months smarter.
I think when you do this many drafts, it definitely sharpens you. And shout out to Liz Ballard. What up, Goat District? What up, Liz Ballard?
Up, Liz.
So okay, we've got.
She always watches these live streams. It's great. Thanks, Liz.
I think we've had really some fun live streams. This draft is nobody's really gone off the rails. Team 7 is the most kind of unique build. Team 7 went with a 4 wide receiver start, and I want to say Team 7 did something very smart. I think once in a while you see a team go 4 wide receiver start, and then they keep going wide receiver. It's like a 6-7 wide receiver start, which is a little crazy to me, because I feel like if you're going to go with a 4 wide receiver start, you also should be very good at tight end or quarterback or both. And they went ahead and took Kyler Murray. So he gets the DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray correlation. And then instead of forcing a running back in the 6th round that maybe he wasn't crazy about, he takes Tyler Boyd. So he kind of builds on the strength like Andrew always talks about. So I like what he did. If you're going to go 0 RB, that's certainly one way of doing it. And it's not ugly. It would help.
Well, you have to press it, and I like what they did. I like that they pressed it a couple more times before, getting the James Conner pick. I'm glad that it was 2 running backs after 9. That feels about right. Man, was it last Wednesday, Theo, where like the mentions were popping a little bit about zero RB? Because I think somebody posted a zero. I think it was Kevin Scott asked for draft boards. Hey, show me your good zero RB draft boards. And I'm not dumping on this person, Kevin specifically, because I'm not doing that anyways. But somebody posted
Kevin's a sharp drafter.
Yeah,
and it was a great thread. Maybe we could retweet it after the show. So go ahead.
Yeah, and no, one guy I think posted a draft board where he did 4 wide receivers to start. So true, 0 RB start, but then I think ended up with like 10 running backs and just went like very green heavy afterwards. I think the point is like, you have to continue to go because having 4 wide receivers isn't enough. And I think that what we were just talking about, right, was just like you can't, if you're going to do a quote unquote, I guess you should do air quotes, extreme strategy, right? You can't middle it. You can't stop after 4 wide receivers. You sort of got to keep going. But Team 7 here, I like the Kyler Murray, I like the AJ Dillon, and I like that, it was only 2 running backs after 9. That feels right. That feels how you continue down the extreme wide receiver strategy instead of, hitting eject kind of halfway through the plan.
Yeah, and I think I think you nailed it. I think that a lot of really good zero RB starts are kind of ruined where a person kind of panics and forces a running back at the 5th or 6th round. If there's a running back you like or one that you feel is a very good value there, of course you can pivot and take them. But I think a lot of times they're just taking them because they kind of get nervous and they look at it as like the end of a tier.
Yeah, you got to feel uncomfortable.
I'm with you. Yeah, exactly.
The whole point is to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and the whole point is to be so.
Do it.
To be so. Basically, the whole premise of zero RB is you want to be so good at the flex spots that it basically negates any need for a running back. So like those true zero RB monsters that you've seen put together by like Sean Siegel, Chris Vaccaro, those kind of guys. They certainly weren't forcing it in the 5th round. Okay, so see Jalen Hurts. So I had him in our queue.
I don't. You know what, Theo? I didn't even care that he was in our queue because I'm looking at the board, and I'm very hopeful the number 1 guy that I want to take is still sitting there. And it based on what people have drafted, it looks like we may have an opportunity. Let me go ahead and put him on the top of our queue there. Unless people are willing to start doing it early. Start double tapping some of these colors. I think we should have an opportunity, but I want to get your take. If you already had Jalen Hurts in the queue, want to know what you think.
No, I mean, I'm okay. I just think he's one you consider in this range, and we have Devonta Smith, so maybe a little correlation people aren't really doing. I like the Alexander Madison pick that went. Maybe I'll touch on him after we pick. So Marvin Jones goes. Okay, so yeah, I'm okay doing it. I say we just take him.
You sure?
No, I don't.
Naked?
I don't mind.
Naked or no?
I don't think we go naked. I think if we take him, I'd like to get a second QB.
Well, you like a second quarterback, anyways. I knew I wasn't going to be able to completely talk you off of that.
Okay, so that's fine. I'm okay taking him here.
The other one, no, well, it's fine.
Well, the other one would be, a little more vanilla, but he's still very good value. I'll throw out the fact that we could take them both. Potentially, Captain Bogdit. He already has Pat Mahomes. So, okay, so let's take. You want to take Trey Lance here, correct?
I do. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna have my pants off.
I'm okay taking Trey Lance.
Yep.
And I know who else you want here.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so do we if you're gonna I will say this. We could take Trey Lance and Matt Stafford back-to-back picks here and feel really, really strong about our quarterback. Okay, so you're against that. So I would say
I've already talked about how I would be naked with Lance on the roster, on the team.
Okay, so I want to take a quarterback in the last couple rounds. Well, that's a nice.
All right.
Okay, that's a good trade-off. Okay. So I will say this: we should take Captain Bogdit's not going to take a backup QB here, so take Rondale Moore here, lock him up.
Rondale.
Lance. Okay, so take Rondale. Okay, and then
he's gonna take Lance.
If Lance,
and then we take Stafford. It's fine.
And then we'll take Stafford. But I don't think Captain Bogdit's going to take a quarterback here when he already has Mahomes. I'd be surprised. Unless he just wants to be, a jerk and he's listening to us.
Nah, yeah.
We're extremely rookie heavy on this team, but I don't really care. I just think
man, I think I overcompensated for the fact that we had Odell. I really did. And
it's fine. I'm okay with it.
This is a real overcompensation.
I'm okay with it. But Stafford, I feel like is okay. So he went Penny. Okay, so I'm okay going Lance. It's very, very rookie centric. I don't think we're cashing, the 750 with this team if we go with this many rookies. Just my opinion.
Okay. What do you want to do instead?
I'm okay with Stafford or Lance. If you want to go, Stafford is like the last of the super, super safe quarterbacks. Yep. I say we go Lance, and I don't mind taking another quarterback, the 15th round, 14th round-ish.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say yes now, so that way I can get Lance, and then I can always back out of my promise later.
Take Lance. Go for it.
No.
15 seconds left.
Let's take Lance. Okay, so we have
rookie centric.
It's rookie centric. It's an aggressive build. Yeah. I mean, listen, William's absolutely right. I love Rondell Moore. I actually full confession is I'm in a slow football guys draft right now.
Oh, this is good.
Where
yeah, please.
I took Kyler Murray in the 6th round, and then I took Rondell in the 10th round to get a little correlation. So I kind of pushed that one a little bit. I think Rondell could absolutely be a thing. I think that Rondell is going to be in the slot. I think he's going to be on the field a lot. He makes me a little worried about Chase Edmonds because I think Rondell they're going to kind of force feed touches to. I'm willing to be wrong on Rondell, but I think in the 11th round it's like we're super strong at wide receiver, and we're going to have options each week. I think that we can kind of pump the brakes a little bit at wideout right now. But
you know what, Theo? I'm willing to do that. That's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I think the 11th round is great, and also Shelley missed out on Elijah Moore. So the fact that Rondell Moore's there, it's like
string it, goddammit, over and over again. Yeah.
So we really need to look at loading up at least a few running backs. I think that running back is not the worst strategy on the comeback. I'll load a few guys in.
Yeah, you're loading them. I'm loading them, and of course you're just quicker because every time I try to click somebody's name, it's already in the queue. So
I'm quick like that, Shelley.
Yeah, we're aligned here, so this is good.
Okay, so we see Komet, we see Ferkser, we see the tight ends, start drying up a little bit. Hunter Henry, Gronk are still on the board.
That doesn't bother me. I don't think that we would have gone Irv necessarily in the 10th. He's really the only guy I would have done. The rest of it, maybe we get somebody like super late, but he's the only guy in this tier, in this 5 round, 6 round block that I would have gone for. Because you and I have a lot of Komet. We have a lot of Ferkser. Who else goes in this range? Oh, Troutman, who went earlier. I think that with Pitts and Hawkinson on board, I think we could have totally skipped these 6 rounds. So now we can just look for a late round tight end if we need one.
No, I agree with you.
So anyways, point being, I'm really happy they're coming off the board now. I don't care.
Yeah, let them take them. Interesting to see Stafford this late.
Yeah, do you feel bad at all that we let Stafford go?
I mean, I think that in the range of outcomes, it's a safer build. I think that there's still a chance that we have to worry about quarterback for a week or 2, maybe 3 with Trey Lance. I mean, as good as he looks, I still would probably think it's going to be Garoppolo week 1, which is a little annoying. I would much prefer, and if I'm San Francisco, I'm the same way. I throw Trey Lance out there week 1, not just because of his talent, but if he's going to have a game where he struggles, I'd rather have it be early than late. I want a guy to be very comfortable and see as many defensive formations as possible, see as many situations as possible, see different kinds of weather, and just be the starter more often than not. But that's not always how NFL teams think. So I think with Stafford, we could potentially get off to a better start. But if Trey Lance and Matt Stafford are both starters in week 6, more likely than not, Trey Lance is going to be, ranked higher as a weekly option. I think that Trey could just blow up. We all saw the 80-yard bomb, and he was not especially accurate, but he did complete the one. He did complete the one deep ball. So
yeah. Well, the good news about running is he doesn't have to be accurate. You just run the ball. We just need the rushing yards. We need the rushing touchdown. That's all we need from him.
That's it. So I loaded a few running backs. I'm also going to load a few quarterbacks, and I think wide receiver has quickly dried up. I think Marquez Callaway would have been a nice player to add. Terrace Marshall. There's one or two wide receivers who I know you like, but at this point I think we're pretty good on wide out.
I'm fine for now. You've appeased me enough on the wide receivers that I feel good.
Yeah, this is a very Andrew Schellenberg-like build, but I like it. I like what we did. I love the fact that we have Pitts and Hawkinson together, and Taylor and Jacobs are such high volume guys. So if Stephon Diggs is great and Trey Lance starts early, this team is fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And we certainly have a unique team. If you want to start playing around with the stat finder, it's going to be fun with this team.
Yeah, we were already unique after 4, so we're certainly unique now.
We are not rookie averse. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, so this is a draft that you'd find in like the May 15th of Football Guys, where everyone's still got like the dynasty rookies on their brain, but like their brains are broken and they're just still taking them so early in these rounds or in these drafts. So it's rare to find a rookie centric draft like this here in mid-August.
So you have Chuba Hubbard, who broke off a long one, another pretty high end handcuff, and I like how Team 1 cuffed McCaffrey and Hubbard, but he didn't push it. There's at least a 10-round gap. So I talked about this with Dan the other day. I like these cuffs when you can have 10 rounds between the starter and the backup. If it's 10 rounds or more, I think you're willing to do it. When you kind of have to push them together, I don't think that's great strategy. But Chuba is, to me, the clear number 2 back there. I know there was some rumblings that he was in like some competition, but to me, he's the clear 2 there. So I don't mind cupping McCaffrey right there. And it doesn't have to be a catastrophic end of the season type injury where he pays off. It might be like a 2-week injury where you get to plug him in and you win two more games that way. So right there, that's a nice pick.
Well, first of all, we got Brian Edwards, who just keeps moving up and up. I think I was like screenshotting you like puppy drafts, where I was like, oh, that's a 9th round Brian Edwards. Oh, this is an 8th round Brian Edwards. Just keeps on moving. I'm never gonna draft him because somebody's always gonna like him slightly more than me, which is already a lot. But it's just the way it's gonna go this year.
No, you're right about that. Brian Edwards is creeping up.
And I like him. I'm just never going to get him at this price.
So we have in a queue here.
I mean, one's a smash to me.
That's fine. I know you like him a lot, and you see him as a role, and I think that here he's not going to hurt us. So take him, and then we can kind of talk out the next one.
Well, hold on. Do you like somebody in the queue then?
No, I think it's fine. I'm going to throw a couple more names in. He's definitely would be a guy I'd consider. So we're talking about James White. If I doubt team 10 is listening to us, but I think that James White makes some sense as an RB3 here. He's going to be a useful player as he always is. Last year was kind of like an aberration. I think he's going to remind people.
Well, do you want to go one of the quarterbacks?
So, no, I think we can take your running back now, and then let's keep talking.
Are you sure?
Yeah. So let's take James White.
All right, James White, the first unsexy pick of the draft. Well, second after Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is pretty unsexy.
Yeah. Okay. Second. But what's next now?
So, for me, it's very boring and unsexy.
Oh no!
Tevin Coleman here makes a little sense. The Jets are sitting Tevin Coleman to get him some rest. Tevin Coleman is going to be used at the beginning of the season. As much as we love Michael Carter, I think Coleman in the 14th round is fine. We've really pushed the limits for running back here in terms of having no running back depth. Okay, AJ Green goes. The other thing we could do is take a quarterback here.
The room seems RB thirsty. So if we miss Tevin Coleman, we have to be ready to. I don't care about missing Tevin Coleman, but I don't think Tevin Coleman comes back around.
Yeah, I'm looking at the running backs besides Coleman. I think that there's a few others, but I think they will be available. It's a very tough decision, Shelley.
I'm okay with Burrow if it makes you happier.
I mean, for me, I'd rather take another quarterback in our queue.
That feels so early. Hold on. You talk for a second. Let me.
No.
I mean, I'm not gonna be a slave to ADP.
No. But this is a player you like.
A player I like. Oh, then I'm in. If you yes.
So let's do it. Let's do a Lance Fields team.
Yes. We did it.
We did it. We finally did it. Okay. So we might have to play the waiver wire for quarterback week 1. It's fine. Let's bet on one of these guys coming through. We always have Sam Darnold against the Jets in week 1.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
This is a KJ Hamler versus Tevin Coleman take, which I don't think I've ever seen the two compared, but hard to argue.
So I appreciate what West Coast. Can you put that one back up on screen?
Yeah.
I forgot. I didn't see his whole name. So I appreciate what West Coast Gem said. And Shelley and I have been drafting the hell out of Carter. We love him. Like we took Carter in the 6th round and the 7th round. I've taken him on my own in the 7th round, the 6th round. Shelley's been taking him in his own drafts. So we are all about Carter. But the Jets, Tevin Coleman, they rested him recently. Like they're giving him veteran rest where I think he's going to get some use the first few weeks. It might be an ugly committee to start out the season, but I'm all about Carter. Carter is absolutely the better play. Like we're not arguing that, but here in the 14th round for running back depth, Coleman makes a little bit of sense. And also rookies can break down, rookies can disappoint. They might not trust Michael Carter early on. So they didn't use a
day 1 or 2 pick on him, so they're not committed to playing him right away. You said it when we were talking about the slow draft. He may be the nuts pick, but he may be the nuts pick starting in week 10. You're not going to see it right away. It may be gross to get the season going.
Yeah, I think that hasn't really changed for me. I do think that the thing that Carter, a lot of people have been taking Carter as like they're doing a modified 0 build and they take Carter in like the 7th round. Like we've done that, and it makes a lot of sense because
I know that move.
He's got the upside. But I think what will keep him kind of above water is the receiving ability. Where even if he's in a committee in terms of rushes, I think he'll get the most targets out of that backfield. And I think that they could be kind of a low ADOT team. Elijah Moore is going to get a lot around the line of scrimmage. I think Carter could as well. And I think Corey Davis is not some, get behind the defense guy. They've still got Crowder. So they might be a little dink and dunk type team. But Carter, that'll keep him kind of above board. But that being said, I still think you can't ignore Tevin Coleman in this range of the draft. Billy Muzio, shout out to Billy, who I drafted a team with the other day. Really sharp guy. He's been a guest of the pod. He's on Tevin Coleman as well. So some smart people are on Tevin Coleman. And here in the 14th round, it's kind of like, it's depth time for running backs. Gainwell goes. That's an interesting pick.
Man, I think the one that's interesting, and look, it's hard to call to task the guy who drafted him. Not too many badges in this one, but there certainly is somebody who's won his fair share of money on FFPC Team 5. Took OJ Howard in the 14th, third tight end, which I think is interesting, and we should probably send him a DM after this, asking him why it was so early. I think you know who that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he's not a bad drafter.
Well, yeah, not a bad drafter, not a bad manager. Knows what he's doing. But OJ Howard, and of course I'm an OJ Howard freak. I just feels early, especially with 2 on the board.
So I'm going to queue a few more guys up.
Yeah, hate that we need to. Ugh.
Yeah. And I'll just go back to the well and make sure we're not missing anybody exciting.
Well, I just added somebody exciting.
Yes, I think we're on the same page.
No build. Yeah, take him out. I put in Rashad Bateman.
I have him. I put him in there too, and I think that
You both put him in. Okay, I'll put him back.
Well, we're at 7 wide receivers. Him as our 8th wide receiver could be interesting. I've been doing. I'll talk about it when it gets to our pick. I have a decent strategy which I've been doing in several drafts.
Gross quick here in running backs, and they just dry up in the 12 to 14 range.
T-Law goes. Trevor Lawrence goes in the 15th. That's a favorite of the team drafting at 5, who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, for now.
But that's his guy. He likes him. Okay, so Gabe Davis goes, a player we like. Okay, so Shelly, I would like to double tap the first 2 guys on this board. I think it's you're not into that?
No, I like it. It's just so uncool, but I like it. That's fine.
I've been doing it. I've been doing it in a lot of leagues lately. I think it's a viable strategy. It also kind of turns the when you get the 11th pick or the 12th pick, you've got to kind of be a little clever. And I think it kind of gives us I've done it like 3 times now, and every time I do it, I kind of come away happy because I'm betting against a guy. I'm going to take the 2 guys behind him. Okay, so let's see what Snoop. Go ahead.
I don't know why I gave you such a bad reaction to that.
You are on the clock.
Can we do it? Can we do at least the?
So I will say we take Quadri Olison.
Yep.
Because he's been going first.
Yep.
And if Captain Bogdit doesn't make a pick here, then let's see what he takes. And I'll throw one more guy in the queue that I think is going to start moving up because I think he's the backup.
Yeah, I gave you a bad reaction, and I didn't mean to, but I've been doing that with like the Chargers, for better or worse. Like a Justin Jackson and Josh Kelly, or Josh Kelly and Larry Roundtree, or Justin Jackson and Larry, whatever the 3-part combination is. So I don't know why I shit on your idea for the Falcons, because I've been doing that with the Chargers. I just think maybe the Chargers are a better team overall with our boy Justin Herbert. So maybe we want that access more than the Falcons.
I think what you're betting on is the goal line runner, which is fine. One of those guys will get goal line. Okay, so Cole goes. So let's do the double tap. Let's take Davey Hawkins. So we've taken the number 2 and number 3 back in Atlanta, and I'm betting against Mike Davis. So I'd be willing to hold these guys for a couple of weeks, and kind of see which way it goes. If one is completely not suiting up or whatever, I don't see that happening. I think that one of the 2 is going to be interesting, and I think that if Davis goes down, I think we've got something in one of those 2 guys. So double tapping, especially double tapping backups is a kind of a dangerous game in a tournament setting. But I think there's something there with the Olison Hawkins combo.
Yeah.
The Roundtree Kelly one.
Well, you have a different winner is part of it, right?
What's that?
You have a different winner. You just said Kelly and Roundtree. I think the problem there is
it could be.
You don't think
Jackson.
Either of them will be your winner. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that you're betting on one of those guys is not going to get any receiving work.
Right.
Like I think if Eckler is going to be such a thing The goal line back. I don't know. I can see the same rationale.
I do it. I don't want to bet against Eckler, and you're right. It's goal line work, really. I just think Chargers are a better offense. So I think I'd rather, push comes to shove, we agree that Davis is a way worse player than Eckler, which is why I think the play is fine. But in terms of like buying offenses, like I think you're selling here's the difference. You're selling Mike Davis and I'm buying the Chargers offense, right? Like that's sort of like the difference in terms of how you frame the strategies.
No, I think you're right. I think that
defense happy here, huh?
Yeah, I like pushing it a little more. I mean, I can understand the appeal of like a Washington or Rams. San Fran defense does look pretty good. But I don't know. It's to each his own. To each his own with the defenses. I think there's one thing to be said if you're a high volume player, though, which a lot of people who listen in on this show are. If you have an elite defense, it's one position you don't have to worry about with waiver wire. So like having to think about your streaming defense, and that takes like 10 to 15 minutes of your strategy for that particular week on one team when you're managing 20 plus teams, it kind of sucks. If you have set it and forget it defense, it's a very appealing thing. You just don't have to worry about it. It's one less position and that's it.
Agreed. Hey, are we doing waiver wire shows? We have too many teams not to. We should figure.
So I'm all about doing a waiver wire show. I think we talked about doing a Go District waiver wire show. I'm writing the waiver wire column for Player Profiler this year. So
nice plug, Theo. Nice plug.
And I have so many teams, so it's kind of a shit show. Basically, my life is waivers for, as soon as Sunday Night Football is over, we start doing waivers for our own teams, and I'm writing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm all about it. So we try to get some waiver wire shows in. And the Go District will not be broadcasting on Wednesday nights this year because of the waiver wire. We're not going to do those horrendous, we're trying to get in your 10 p.m.,
we should
FFPC, NFFC.
We should do it anyways. Show. I think it'll force us to get it done in a productive manner.
We could do an earlier one. We gotta have that little
in 8 p.m.
Yeah, like a 7 p.m. something like that.
Sure.
So Rashad Bateman goes at the 17:01.
Crazy.
If he can manage to hold Rashad Bateman throughout the year, I mean, Shelley and I would have taken him if we didn't. Let's say Rondell Moore wasn't there and we went another position and Trey Lance. We absolutely would have taken Bateman, a little earlier. But once we get to 7 wide receivers, it's pretty much all we need, even for a wide receiver heavy build. So shout out to Team 1 for getting Bateman so late. I hope it pays off for him. Not to win this league, but I love Bateman. You do too, and I want to see him bounce back.
His min last 3 days was 19-7. Ugh, it's crazy. Hey, here's the easiest question I'm going to get all night because it's not about strategy, so I can answer it. Schellenberg, you Jacksonville? Yes, that was easy. Yes, born and raised. So, is it? I'm wondering what the follow-up question is to that. Yeah, Theo. I was asked earlier this week. I think this person's listening. Who knows? I was asked how to how to do waiver wire bids and how much fab to use. And I wasn't kidding when I said I just bid in like different like $100 increments of 69. Like it's not for like kickers and defenses, but if I want a running back or whatever, it's just like, well, that's either a $69 bid, a $169, $269. You get it. But like I'm throwing that out there. So if anybody ever wants to outbid me, all you have to do is figure out which increment of 100 that I'm going to be on from that player, and just do the 70. I'm really easy to bid against. You just have to figure out where I am in the hundreds.
And I will say that for Fab, I will butt heads with Andrew there because I think that when you end the Fab bid in a 9, I mean, just go up $2 and get right above it. A couple of people are going to think like that. I forgot the NFFC player, but somebody used to say friends don't let friends end waiver wire bids in 9. And it's interesting strategy. So, I mean, basically, we're going to have Chad Schrader on Friday night in the GOAT District, who's probably the most successful fantasy football player to ever play. And we're certainly going to ask him his approach to waivers and hopefully get some goodness there, but
Oh shit,
I think
we weren't paying attention to the queue.
No, the queue's fine. I think we're good. We have. So here, I'll throw. I'm not into number 2. I think number 3 will be there when we come back around. I would like to add a share of Jerick McKinnon. Jet McKinnon, I think, is, to me, he's the back I'd rather own behind CEH and KC right now.
Yeah.
Let's get a Jet McKinnon.
That works. Grab him.
And then I really like number 3 the most of the names you have here. You taking McKinnon? You want me to put it in?
Oh, yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I got it. I grabbed him.
Okay, cool. So McKinnon's in. Let's see what Captain Bogdit takes. But the player who we're probably going to draft, Dwayne McFarlane was talking about him on the pod the other night about how great he looked. And I agree with him. It's a really exciting player, kind of in a bad situation.
I think everybody was on him pre-draft. Like there was a lot of like analysts who do like the scouting, the analytics, the whatever. Like everyone's like, oh, like this player is like the guy with the profile. And of course he goes, what, 7th round? And then
Mario
not have gone to a worse team.
Mario Puig, who we had on the pod, who I think is very sharp, RotoWire guy. I think he had him as like his like running back 4 overall. Like he had him really, really pushed up.
Yeah.
And the guy can catch the ball. So I say we do it here and we lock him up if he's here and we take yet another rookie. Devil's advocate is he could be there in the 19th if there was a
defense,
high-end defensive picker. I will say that Suck Up.
Yeah, he was the one I had my eye on. If you want to go him.
So yeah, let's take.
I'm disgusted by the defensive choices. Just to throw that out there, I hate what's left. So I'm waiting for the 20th round pick for that. So
let's take Ryan Suck. You get the great weather, you get the great offense, and a kicker that's pretty reliable. Let's take him. That's fine. So I'll say with defenses, there's one team who I don't mind being the 12th defense off the board because I have a streamer. Are we allowed to talk about it now, Shelly?
Yeah, do whatever. Right? This is the point in the draft where I start to zone out and check out and want to talk about other things.
So there's the Carolina Panthers defense is kind of like the fallback option.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nelson Sousa who kind of put me on this one, and I've been copying it.
And by the way, you can feel good if it makes you feel good to have 2 sources. Just to throw it out there, I think Gretsch is on them too. Just so you know, but you continue. You continue.
So it's a great thing. You basically have the Jets going into Carolina in the Sam Darnold revenge game. So you get the Carolina Panthers defense week 1. Then week 2 is tricky. It's the Saints coming into town, but it's still in Carolina, intra-division, and without Thomas, they're lacking a little bit of firepower. That game might be a little lower scoring than it was in previous years. And then you have going into Houston. So in the first 3 weeks of the year, the Panthers get 2, bottom 6 offenses. It's a great way to stream. And then there's another team who I think could be a set it and forget it defense that I think it has a lot of personnel. They have been picked. Does it have
Derwin Daddy on the team?
Let me pull up one schedule.
No Derwin James.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not a Derwin James team. For me,
okay.
it's
he's only on one team though.
Chargers, but
no, I know.
The Chargers have Washington game. Chargers have Washington game 1, which is like a tricky game. It's away. I wouldn't want to. I'm not about streaming him that first game. I know Fitzy can throw a lot of picks, but I wouldn't want to throw him out there. The Broncos, to me, are the team that they're being drafted, but they're not usually like a top 6. I think they could be like the sneaky defense this year.
I love that, except all the defenses. So West Coast Gem just asked again, any love for Broncos D? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're just talking about them. It's a great call.
But they went defense 8 here.
So, but I think that's correct.
Yeah.
And if you pull up their schedule,
oh, absolutely, smash.
The schedule is insane. They start the year out with the Giants in New York. It's away, but still an offense they could handle. Then they go to Jacksonville. Then the Jets come to Denver. So they have 3 plus starts, and they have a ton of talent. So I think they're good. And then I think the biggest sleeper is the Atlanta defense is going to be very improved. I'm not sure how high they could move up, but you could stream it. But if you're only drafting 5 teams, 2 teams, if you're a kind of a normal drafter, not a high volume guy like Shelly and I, streaming defense is one of the most viable strategies in fantasy football. It pays off every single year.
And I don't bid in increments of 69 for the defenses. Just those are like 1 and 2 and 3. So
there you go.
No worries there.
There you go. So no real surprises late in the draft.
Theo, I always forget to do this. So let me make sure. So if you're watching live on YouTube, you should hit the like button, the subscribe button, and then go to your favorite podcast app and then hit subscribe to the GOAT District. Theo, you're having one guest on this week, Friday, doing a couple of these $500,000 Billies. I have Deo 2 underscores, as he reminded me during this stream, 2 underscores on tomorrow to talk about our main event draft that just finished.
No, I can't wait to listen to that one. Deo is fantastic.
So
I mean, you guys are both super sharp people, and I'll be interested to hear you guys talk about a draft I was not in. I always enjoy those ones. It's fun to talk about the drafts you're in. But when you have 2 people you respect really talking about, how they built their team, I like that. I'll definitely be listening to that.
He's sharp. I'm a disaster, but that'll be good. But you can find that on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the little alarm bell button. Make sure you get it. The second we start going live, which is I think 8:00 tomorrow. To do that, podcast app, subscribe. Also, we're playing on the FFPC. They've got Dynasty. They've got Best Balls. I think that they said they've only got 7 to 10 days left of their big Best Ball tournament, $100,000 grand prize. So I think that there's less than 200 teams remaining for that one. So we play on the FFPC. This is what we do. We're doing the live drafts there. We've done a couple of KFFSC throughout this off season, but highly suggest playing on the FFPC for their 2 tournaments with grand prizes of $500,000, which is where this particular podcast, stream gets its name, $500,000 Billies.
Yeah, and we're going to be drafting another team pretty soon. I mean, it's crunch time. I feel like I'm drafting every night, and I feel like I'm in multiple leagues every night at this point. So it's
the toughest thing for me, and so total shift away from the FFPC. All the home leagues are starting. Where I want you to know that I have friends outside of internet friends. Like you're a good internet friend, but I've got friends in Jacksonville, which yes, John Atlas from Jacksonville. And now I've started to have to manage my schedule of my friends drafts to make sure that they don't interfere with any of these main events we've signed up for. So it's just a mess now trying to coordinate now that those real life drafts that aren't for $500,000 are starting back up. I got to figure out and manage my fantasy football schedule a little bit more. It's actually more stressful now than it was when we were drafting in May and June.
So I've actually every year I feel like I'm dropping a home league here. It's kind of like breaking up with
oh no, don't do that. That's bad.
I have 2 home leagues that I hold on to. One is a live league in New York City. I live on Long Island. And it's every year it's somewhere in New York City. We're on the clock here, and
Kylan Hill.
We're going to take Kylan Hill, and we can talk about him after I talk about my leagues.
Yeah, finish it up.
But so even during the pandemic last summer, we got together at a rooftop bar in Queens. It was a great draft. I have that league, and then I have another live league where it's actually in the Baltimore area. But this year it's not live; it's going to be online. So usually I have 2 of these home leagues where they're in person, and I couldn't get out of those ones. But I don't know. For me, it was Shelly, I just feel like it's hard to have these different formats. I want to have as many FFPC and NFFC teams as I can handle, and then when I have to bounce over to YouTube, Yahoo or Sleeper or something like that for another league, it's tough. MFL, I have MFL leagues too, so it's I'm
having to manage all my ESPN and Yahoo notifications. It's becoming a real issue managing everything. Everything was much simpler when it was just FFPC.
So
Which again, we love to play. We love to play. Big plug.
Carolina
Send
defense
$.
right here.
Oh yeah, Carolina.
So we'll take the streamer, and this team will be a streamer team. We have Carolina against the Jets week 1. So we're hoping for a big boost from our defense week 1. Hopefully we have a starting quarterback. We might be taking the 0 at the quarterback position week 1.
Well, yes, because Baker and Tua got drafted.
Well,
but luckily, Jameis didn't yet, and Taysom didn't yet. So we could always just fumble around and maybe trip into 10 points. Who knows?
And I'll continually throw out Sam Darnold in the revenge game.
Oh, that's fine. Darnold's fine. Yeah, fine. Great. We feel good about that. I feel great.
We drafted Darnold. I made Shelley take a QB2, and we took Darnold on a team I think we have Darnold as like a 20th rounder in another team we drafted. So
I much prefer Fields in 14 than I do Darnold in 20.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think that going Burrow there, like we talked about going Joe Burrow there in the 14th instead of Fields. I like Burrow a lot more than, I think he's getting beat up. I just think that Fields is like, if one of these two guys starts week 1, we're going to feel really good about things. Fields would go against the Rams defense, which would be very, very tricky. But, we'll manage. We'll manage with this.
All right, Theo, let's do a quick draft review because I got basketball in the morning. I got hoops to play, so I need to get some rest here. What do you think about the team? Do we like it? We started off with a unique build. Diggs, Taylor, Pitts, Hawkinson, unique. No one else in the tournament has that start. We started to get slightly unsexy. Josh Jacobs started to get a little bit old. Odell Beckham, to where that one Odell Beckham pick just made me have that visceral reaction that you saw to the Antonio Brown also being on the squad. So let's stop there. Be happy with how the draft started. Not thinking about kind of how we continued in the middle rounds. Do you like the start?
So I really like the start. I think we talked about an hour before the draft in Twitter DMs about adding a Jonathan Taylor here at around the 11, and to get Diggs with him, I think was great. I think that I kind of thought about a Taylor with another running back start. We talked about Gibson, but having Diggs there is great. And then I really like what we did with the Pitts Hawkinson. Like you said, there's 20 teams or so that have done it. But I still like it. They're two, younger tight ends. We're betting on to take a big step and have some explosive weeks. Jacobs, we kind of take begrudgingly, but especially with the way the build worked out, it was a great pick because we had RB2 locked up. I like Odell more than you do. And then I like, going Visca, Smith, Waddle, Pittman, Moore. Put more out of the equation, but every single wide receiver we drafted besides Rondell could be the number 1 wide receiver on their team. And then Lance Fields is about as aggressive as it gets. And then we took some running backs. So I'll say this. If somebody was doing odds, if Fantasy Mojo wants to do odds for this particular league,
it's Juan from Terre Haute. It's not Fantasy Mojo who does those or whatever that guy's name is. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
You there you go. Javier from Terre Haute. Thank you.
If Javier wants to do odds for this particular league, we would be somewhere in the middle. But I think we're okay with that because I think we went very high upside where we could. In terms of builds, I think that team 1 with McCaffrey, Brown, and Mixon start is great. I don't like the Golladay pick he made. I'm kind of off of him. But Andrews Godwin I thought was strong. And for him to get Dak at the 701, I know Dak's slipping a little bit, but that's great. Team.
Well, hold on, Theo, before you do that, the ML question came in. Where do we get the stack finders? Yeah, that's Fantasy Mojo. Easiest $25 you'll spend if you're playing on the FFPC. $25, $30. One, wanted to respond to that. 2, sorry, Theo, a couple things.
No, go ahead.
Liz did a great job. I said 199 teams left. There's 641. So I just obviously have no idea what I'm talking about. Still send to add dollars though.
It was a made up number. Shelley made it up.
Making shit up as per usual.
He made it up. It's fine.
Get fact checked in the chat. That's fine. I'm going to survive. Liz also asked, and we should have done this, Theo. Instead of going team by team, can we go straight to being the assholes and play everyone's favorite game, which I think people love is who's the rake. They may not be last place in the team, but they're certainly not getting their money back, and they're certainly not winning the $500,000. I have a rake in mind. I don't know if you have a rake in mind, so I can go ahead and start if you need time to scan the draft board and just absolutely dump on somebody.
Go ahead with your rake, but I will say it's not as bad.
Not as easy, but you got to pick one out.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, the whole purpose of doing this is so that we get the interaction of people saying that they're not the rake, and that maybe when they're beating us, they go back to this tweet and they reply, and we can quote tweet it and still get more interaction and content. So who's the rake? Good question. Team 9. Team 9 stinks. Terrible roster construction. Don't like the 3 running back start, especially with what was happening with the wide receivers. And then, once they start going to Mike Evans, Julio Jones, I do not like the pivot back to, for another question in the chat, the Chase Edmonds, Myles Gaskin. There was a question about Chase Edmonds versus Devin Singletary. I mean, I think that the easy dumbass answer, the flippant answer, if you will, is Chase Edmonds switched to number 2. So he looks skinny and fast. And that's why he should continue going there. I think there was one draft year where he went to the 312. Nevertheless, I digress yet again. I just think
that was crazy when he went 312. That was one of the craziest picks we've seen all year. But continue.
So rough roster construction, and then once you start taking the wide receivers, they're the most firing, low ceiling, high floor. So this is gonna be one of those teams that ends up beating us. But the Mike Evans, Julio Jones, fine. But then Russell Gage, Marvin Jones, Emmanuel Sanders, Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, Christian Kirk, no thanks. I don't like Team 9. It's just a team I would never draft. And when I see a team I would never draft, I just automatically assume they're not going to win any money. Okay, so Team 9 for me. Theo, what about you?
So I think you've got a good point on Team 9. I think if you go Montgomery there in the 3rd round, I think you've got to pump the brakes. You can't take
Edmonds and Gaskin.
You can't take Edmonds and Gaskin. And if you really want an RB4, Edmonds as an RB4 makes a little sense. We wouldn't have taken him there, but I like Evans more than you do. I kind of get it.
Fine.
But yeah, you're right. It's
fine, but I wouldn't have done it with that construction. I don't mind it, but I don't know. Too much.
So for me, I think I'll agree with you that they're probably the rake, but I do think with Jones and Chubb, it was a nice start. Again, it's not a bunch of horrible boards here. I'm going to throw out Team 4 because Team 4, I really like their start where they get Kamara, Metcalf, Keenan Allen, and then I think that they kind of went the wrong direction with the Mike Davis pick. And as appealing as Josh Allen is, I think that if they would have gone another direction with Davis and Allen there, I think they could have come away with a really, really, really scary build. For instance, they could have gone, ETN or Higgins or Mandrews, and then they could have had, Ayuk. They could have had a guy with a little more juice. I just think that when you go Davis there, it's kind of I get the balance and all that, but I don't see him being a high payout type guy. But again, I'm nitpicking. They had a great start with that Allen, Metcalf, and Kamara. Whatever you think of Kamara, I mean, he's certainly going to get a lot of touches. And then Metcalf with Allen together I think that's a very, very aggressive and good wide receiver group, and they kind of balance each other. I just feel like he kind of took the foot off the gas with the Mike Davis pick.
Yeah, and I agreed on Mike Davis. I mean, I think the other thing, and again, not my content, but I'll steal it. I think it's Ship Chasings. Again, great podcast with them. Go back and listen to that one. They talk about winning the flex, and when you look at their roster, right, they've got Allen, Fant, fine. They're going to start. They're at just looking at their first picks, right? So who knows what they're going to do week 1? But Kamara Davis have to start. DK Allen has to start, and then Michael Thomas is out. Right, he's not going to be there week 1, so he's not one of your flex options. So let's assume you have to flex Michael Gallup, and then you're going to have to flex Tony Pollard along with him. Maybe that's a Hard Knocks team. Maybe that's the route they're going. Maybe they're seduced there. But I just so maybe you feel better when you're watching Hard Knocks. But I just don't think that that's where you want to be winning the flex at is with a Michael Gallup and a Tony Pollard.
No, I'm totally with you. And then I'll point out one other thing with let me actually pull up the board because I can't see their first pick because of the little gold district symbol.
Oh, let me scroll. Sorry. What a mess.
Okay, cool. So I'll also say that team 12. I love the Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller picks. I think there's a couple of things I would have changed with their team. The Carson pick, I get they wanted to have their first. Maybe I'm just nitpicking on their team. That's actually not a terrible build. I'll say that it's
we're just mad at them for taking Claypool and Judy. Well, we like Beckham. That's fine. They're fine.
I'll say it's very difficult to take a quarterback and a tight end in the first 4 rounds together. However, they have the Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes correlation, and they get Darren Waller, who could be tight end 1 overall this year, and in tight end premium, he's great. So I can see it with this team, but it's hard to go quarterback and tight end in the first 5 rounds. I think if for home league drafts, or if you only have a couple teams, I think that's just a great strategy to have in your drafts. Is the one-off positions, don't double up with the one-offs. Occasionally it pays off big time, but a lot of times you're just chasing value at running back and wide receiver if you do that. But with his particular build, it made sense. So I got to say, all in all, I thought this was a decent room. There was no team that was like just horrendous, and it was a challenging draft for us for sure. I'd love to get a different kind of pick with you, Shelly, next time we pick. I'd love to get like something random, like the 5-hole, the 6-hole.
Well, the problem is we've done 5 of these, right? And we got the price we paid for getting that 1 first overall pick was the other 4 being all back here.
Yep. So,
but we've got different builds. It's fine. It's fine. They all look different.
Yeah. No, I'm all about it. So yeah, I know you got basketball in the morning. So yeah, this was a blast.
Well, here's the thing. Let's end with this. We'll do plugs in a minute. But look, let's end with the who's the rake with. Hey Theo, we're not the rake again. We did great. We didn't have to pick ourselves.
I'd like to think that I'm never the rake in these drafts. I don't think you are either. So I'll give ourselves a little bit of credit. I don't think we're.
No, I've made some disgusting teams. I've made some disgusting teams this offseason. So who knows?
There you go. But yeah, basketball, good luck tomorrow. It's going to be great. Again, definitely listen tomorrow night to Shelly and Deo from First and 15 podcast. That's going to be a great one to listen to. And then listen into to us on Friday with Chad Schrader. Dan Williamson is on a vacation right now, but he'll be back for the Chad Schrader podcast on Friday. And Shelly, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, no, the Deo one's going to be fun. It's going to be a good one. Main event review. Theo coming up, looking in the future. I've got actually on Friday my first live main event draft, so maybe we'll have to recap that, you and I, next week. I think awesome. You and I maybe have one more football guys in us. You, Dan, and I are going to do a pre-Vegas trip, prep show. So we'll get ready for that. That should be fun. Maybe it's just a food review show or a food prep show. Who knows what we're going to get going on that one. But yeah, just getting ready for Vegas. I know you've got a couple main events.
It's just going to be Andrew giving Vegas restaurant recommendations for about 45 minutes.
Yes. So buckle in. I've already made all my reservations everywhere. I literally, and I can say with a straight face, I go to Vegas to do my 2 drafts there, and then just eat. That and belly up to the sports book. And I mean belly in every sense of my fat belly when I say that. So
I'll be doing 6 drafts, possibly 7 in Vegas. So I'm the opposite extreme. I'm just going to be. It's just going to be excruciating. But
not much bellying for you. No, you'll find some time.
Yeah, no. Well, it'll be a blast. And there might be a Go District pod from Vegas as well. It's being put together. We met up some good guests, so it's going to be a blast to do that.
Nice. That'll be fun. I'll close it out at AM Schellenberg. Do all the likes, subscribe on YouTube, at the OG Fantasy, subscribe on the favorite podcast app, and absolutely Kyle, absolutely West Coast Gem. If we were the rake, we would tell you guys we were the rake. We're not the rake in this draft. But hey, maybe on Friday I am. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Thanks guys for listening. We'll talk to you later. LFG.